Hi guys. So this session is a very exciting one actually. We weren't able to host, on the Fridays for South Asian Heritage Month, we were hosting a mehfil, so showcasing dance and music, but the last two we had to postpone, so we will be doing those later in September. So really excited that today Raheem, very talented Raheem, will be performing Kathak for us today. If we have time, maybe he'll do two performances. Oh, hi Jaymini, a leading Kathak exponent in this country. Jaymini Sahai. Wow, amazing. Thank you, Jaymini. So honoured that you could join us this evening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and the performance. So for those that are not familiar with the format of this conversation, of this series, I usually give it until about 5 past to let people join. So if you want to go and get a drink, because it's really hot, I know it's just started raining where I am in London, but still a scorching nonetheless. If you want to go and get a drink, I've got my mango juice. So yeah, this is essentially like the mehfil sort of series, and I usually dress up for it because the guests make the effort to dress up, so I thought I'll do the same. And you know, we haven't been able to go out in lockdown, so this is just an excuse to dress up as you would if you were to go to a mehfil or a batuk. So we'll give it a few more minutes to allow enough people to join, and the format is as follows. So I will do an introduction to Raheem, for those that are not familiar with who he is, and then I'll invite him to the conversation. He will then do a short performance. So for those that are not aware of what Kathak entails, you will have an insight into that, and obviously Raheem's particular style of expression. I'll announce what song that is, one of my absolute favourite classical songs. It is a film song, so he'll be performing to that, and then we'll move on to rapid fire round, which is essentially an icebreaker, just some fun questions to get to know Raheem as a person, and then we'll move on to the conversation and delve a little bit deeper into Raheem's journey as a dancer and all about jazz, pun intended. And then the last 15-20 minutes I usually leave for comments, questions, feedback for you guys, so for those who have joined in. What I normally do is I disable the comments as soon as the conversation starts, and that's just to allow myself and the guest to have an unfiltered conversation without distraction. But please, by all means, whatever questions you have, any comments, feedback, just drop it in the comments box. And even though it will be disabled from sort of your point of view, when I enable the comments at the end, they will still appear. So if there's something you resonate with throughout the conversation, please by all means interact through the comments and the hearts as well. So give it a minute or two, one more minute. Still have time to grab a drink. I've got my fan on. If you could let me know, can you still hear me with the fan on in the background? If not, I'll turn it off. Is the fan distracting, or is it okay? Alright, I'll take that as a yes. It's now 8:05, so I will disable the comments and we'll begin the introduction. So this conversation, as I said, is with the very talented Raheem Mir. So for those that are not aware of who Raheem is a trained performer and artist. He is a Kathak dancer who has been lauded for challenging gender boundaries through Indian classical dance, namely through Kathak. He performs in dance roles typically reserved for women and is famous for his feminine interpretation of Kathak, as well as his ability to elegantly adopt the feminine garb. I will turn this off actually. According to Raheem, gender is all about a spectrum and is unrelated to one sex. A versatile dancer, Raheem has also performed in various bhangra shows. Consequently, the idea of gender within a dancer and their form is a key aspect that Raheem explores within both professional and academic fields. He believes that boundaries are there to be pushed and questions are there to be asked. A recent double master graduate from Royal Holloway University of London, Raheem will be pursuing his doctorate this October, where he hopes to investigate the queer narrative in Kathak. He has performed at the South Bank Centre, the West End, and in January 2017 delivered a TED talk titled Adorning an Identity and Exploring Gender Fluidity Through Dance. So let's invite Raheem. I will let him announce what he will be performing. Hey, Raheem.
Hi, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. Please carry on. I'll come back.
No, that's my intro to you finished. I hope I covered everything. Was that good?
Yeah, it was ideal. It was brilliant. I apologize for the loud crows in the background.
No, I can't hear any crows, but if you can hear thunder and rain, then I apologize for that. All of a sudden, it started raining here in London. But so what I've explained to everybody is the format, and I've told them that you're going to start with a performance. I love how we're matching, by the way.
Yes,
this is not planned.
This is completely unintentional. We didn't plan this.
Yes, but it just goes to show we are on the same wavelength. So I can see it's very hot where you are. So Raheem, if you want to introduce what you will be performing before we start the questions.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, hello everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining. Yes, I will start off with the intro to quite an iconic number. I've performed this number a few times. Once at a Sangeet, which was very interesting, and I'm sure we can get into that afterward.
I would love to.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's with one of my absolute idols, Madhuban, in one of the most iconic roles in Mughal Azam. So this is the intro of Pyar kiya to darna kya.
Yeah, but take it away, Raheem.
Oh my god, I'm gonna try. Okay, you have to tell me if you can see me.
Okay, just set yourself up, and I will let you know.
I'll set myself up. How do I look from here?
Perfect. Looking great.
Good. Right, I'm just gonna have to come back because this is what happens.
The audio in then.
Yeah, there's no help. You know what I mean?
That's my absolute favorite film. It's just like you said, so iconic. I love, all the music pieces, the dances, the costumes. Amazing. I'm so glad that you'll be performing. Anyone who doesn't know what this film is, you're in for a treat if you haven't seen Raheem perform before.
Yeah, so just for you that don't know, Pyar kiya to darna kya loosely translates into when one has loved, then what has one left to fear? So it's about that power and that emotion being so powerful for one that there is nothing left to fear, because love is so powerful in itself that we fear love and for what it will do to us as an emotion. So yes, here we go. All right, I hope you guys enjoy it.
Take it away.
Okay, let's just make sure the volume is correct. Okay, here we go.
Wow, Raheem, that was epic. I don't know if you could see from that far away, but the hearts were just flying in abundance for you. They're still there. You can
Thank
see
you.
the remnants of them.
Thank you. Thank
Raheem, I'll let you catch your breath before
you.
we
Yeah. Ooh.
interrogate you. um, ah, that was just majestic. It really was. I'll let you take a few sips before we, ask the questions.
It's okay. I'm good. You can go.
I want to turn on the comments, but I will leave it to the end because that's the structure that I've been following. But you can see on the side there,
Yeah.
that was just
Thank you.
beautiful. And as you were dancing, it was thundering here where I am. It just added to the whole mood. Oh God, it was so good. You just can't make that up. Anyway, let's dive right into it. If we have time, then Raheem will grace us with another performance. So let's get through these questions and get to know Raheem a little bit more closely. So we're going to start with an icebreaker. Like I said, it's all fun. Don't take any pressure from it. Just to get to know you.
I got you. I know you well enough.
No pressure. Right. So let's start. What is a song that evokes memories of your childhood?
And
rapid fire round.
Oh crap! I can't remember what it's called, but it goes to Hemeri Kiran.
Oh right, from Done. From Done.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, with Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, yeah. I thought you were going to say something classical, but yeah, that is iconic. That is an iconic
one.
song.
Either that one or In Hilo Gone. If you wanted a classical one, that always reminds me of my childhood.
I loved In Hilo Gone. So beautiful. Okay, your favorite Kathak mudra?
My favorite Kathak mudra is probably anything to do with Radha. I think the Gungat is my favorite one, but it's instead of this one, it's this one. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Right, so you're having a dinner party, Raheem, and you're allowed to invite 3 guests, living or dead. Who would you invite?
Who would I invite? I'd invite Madhubala. Of course, duh. I'd invite Beyonce. And I'd invite Will Smith because I feel like he needs some help after the whole thing that he's gone through with Jada.
Oh my God.
That's the man that's not getting no more meals from his wife, and he'll be glad to get a home cooked meal.
Can I join that table? I would love to be at the table. Will Smith is my favorite. I love Madhubala and Beyonce. Yeah, I could just listen to her singing all day.
I just want to know what she's like, and then I think I'll get over it. Do you know what I mean?
Who, Madhubala?
No, Beyonce.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Madhubala's not alive, obviously, but like I said, living or dead. Great table.
Living or dead. But it would be nice to have Rekha and Amitabh Bachchan there just to see the gossip.
Oh, that's scandalous, isn't it?
I like scandal. Okay, go.
Pull up a chair for me at that table. Okay, right. You've been given the ability to travel back in time to perform a dance sequence from a film of your choice. What dance sequence would that be?
Ooh.
It would be your face. It would be you instead of that.
Doing it.
Yeah. So we would associate you with that dance as opposed to the actress or actor.
Crap, man. These are good questions. It would have to be Mohe Pangat Pe.
From Mughal Azam also. I love that. I see.
That song to me means so much, and it really allowed me to explore parts of my being that I didn't even know existed.
We will get into that for sure. I think there's a theme here with the Radha Krishna type of dance.
Yeah, Radha Krishna. I also really enjoy Lakshmi and Parvati are my 2 other favorites.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully we can get into this.
Yeah.
Final question. Yes, final question. What does the term British Asian mean to you? Because obviously we're celebrating South Asian Heritage Month, sharing our, illustrious heritage. So what does this term mean to you?
To be British Asian means to be a body within a space that inhabits 2 worlds. To be somebody, but to also be no one. And to be a statistic, I think, for a lot of people, and a chance to really explore your own terms of authenticity and truth. And it also allows a person who is British Asian to combine two cultures together and to be a bridge between between two worlds that have such a past. To say that you encapsulate both, I mean, can one truly encapsulate both? Really, we don't know, but because there's so many conflicts between the two. But allowing us this British Asian title also allows us, and you know, almost permits us in a world where we probably wouldn't be regarded as something, but it gives us a chance to prove something, and I think that's what it means.
I love that. And you know, let's move on to the actual questions here. So I've asked you that question specifically because I know that you have a dual heritage. So if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, so we grew up with English family on my father's side, and with Punjabi family on my mother's side. So we grew up in a very, very interesting household in which we were inhabiting two cultures. And one thing that always really sticks out in my mind is two forms of discipline, in which we would have, you know, the chance to talk about things, but then we would be silenced. So it was a very
paradoxical world.
Yeah, it was like, it was very much like you would be asked why, you know, by my English side, and they would want an answer. Whereas my Punjabi, my nanny might go, ki, and that was it. And I was like, what? And then everyone goes, shut up, don't say anything. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's one thing that I always think about.
That's something, I mean, like I said, that's unique to you, that you have this English heritage, like and the Punjabi heritage. And I think we can all relate. I mean, obviously I have Punjabi ancestry on both sides. So being British Asian, being born in this country, oscillating between the two cultures is hard enough. But I can imagine how confusing that might have been sometimes for you. Like you just said, your English dad wants an explanation because you're encouraged to speak and give answers, whereas the Punjabi side or the South Asian side, complete opposite. That is interesting, and I'm sure that's shaped your character, and we'll delve into that you know, throughout the course of this conversation. But bringing it back to dance now, so there's this claim or an assertion that you're shattering gender stereotypes through dance, like, you know, predominantly through Kathak, you know, dressing in anarkalis or feminine clothing. I say that in air quotes as well. Dancing elegantly, gracefully, like a female. But we know that there's also been, you know, many great male Indian classical Kathak exponents like Pandit Birju Maharaj, for example, and he came from a family where the males were dancers, so he learned from his uncles, right? So with that in mind, what are your thoughts on this claim that you're shattering gender stereotypes? Because men have occupied this space of Kathak traditionally as well. But there's this notion that you are dismantling, questioning gender in this space. What would you say?
Yeah, I think to claim that I'm shattering anything is quite a claim, and it's quite a title that a lot of people bestow upon me, and I never initially asked for it. And it was something that was given to me. I kind of did what I did and started to challenge the gender norms that Kathak didn't give me, but the teachers had given me, that workshops had given me, that culture and society had given me. And to give a dancer who wants to specialize and wants to explore a form that has no gender binary, but to tell the dancer that you have a binary makes no sense to me at all. And I was someone that always grew up very fluid anyway within myself. When I was growing up, until, I don't know, I was probably hitting puberty, I was always getting confused for a girl. When I was little, my mother would get compliments to say, "Oh, your daughter's so pretty," you know, and every single time I pick up the phone, it'd be like, "Oh, hi, how are you, ma'am?" You know, the other day, someone at the McDonald's drive-thru still said it to me. So I was like, okay, I don't know if I've hit puberty yet. I don't know what's going on. But I think that to say that I'm shattering, I think that I'm just bringing it back into the conversation. This form has no binary. The people that were initially dancing, yes, were the men, and the men were performing as women, and, you know, as whatever form they had to take, whatever deity, whatever, you know, performance you were doing, because initially it was all, as Kathakars, as storytellers, we would tell the story of Hindu mythology and the Hindu faith. So, you know, to say to me that I can't essentially embody, say, Radha, say, Lakshmi, say, Sita, for example, when we get booked to do Diwali gigs, you know, like, to say that I can't embody that through physical garb and garment is weird to me, because if I've seen little girls growing up dressing up as Krishna, then why am I not allowed to now dress up as Radha? And it's not to say I want to be a woman, nor do I want people to go, that's a woman, or to say, this is someone so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. I'm just showing a realized version of her. I just seem to, like, I want to now blend those two identities together to show you the grace of Radha, but then maybe to show you a masculine energy of Krishna. To, you know, and I think in form, you can personify that quite easily. So so to go back to the idea of me shattering gender norms, I guess I am a little bit, but also at the same time I'm not.
You didn't set out to do that. That was not
what I set out to do, I'll be honest, is that when I got told that I wasn't allowed to do something, that didn't sit right with me, because you can't dictate the form to me when I have done my own research, and I have performed in pieces where half an hour then I'll be a man, the other half I'm a woman, then I'm a frog, then I'm a turtle, then I have to be the wind, and I have to go. So you're now telling me that I can't be an element, or I can't be an animal for the sake of a story.
Exactly. You know, Raheem, this brings me on to another point that I wanted to highlight. So, or 2 points rather. It's a two-folded sort of point. In Shakespearian times, men would dress up and portray women, right?
Absolutely.
That was the norm.
Well, that's where the word drag came from.
Exactly, right. I'll let you elaborate on that in a moment. But so that was the first point, that Shakespearean time, they dressed as women and performed as women, and like I said, completely was the norm of the time. But alongside that, if we think about belly dancing as a dance form, traditionally that was also performed by men. So I just wanted to share something for those that may not be familiar. You might be, but belly dancing is something we see as really seductive, really salacious, right? So male belly dancing is not a new thing. There are male belly dances that exist in Turkey, but when we see a man dancing like that, it doesn't fit within our own gender construct, viewing it from the Western lens. But that's what they did. I think the word is Zene dancers. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they dated back to the Ottoman Empire, and they performed in the court of the Sultan because women were prohibited from performing. So the men performed those roles, and it was often, you know, the non-Muslim population, so Greeks, Armenians, Romans, and they would be trained as dancers, adopting, you know, androgynous or feminine clothing, garb, and makeup, completely normal. So what you're doing, you know, why I said, are you shattering this claim that people are putting on you, quite a heavy claim. This is something that has existed. Even if we think about Shiva, Lord Shiva, or Nataraj, the way he's posing, the way he's standing, we can deem that to be really feminine. That's a masculine energy, Shiva. Or Nataraj. But the way he's standing, you could say, is very feminine, but it's a masculine dance. Shiva is a masculine energy. So those are the things I wanted to share. Do you want to elaborate on those?
Oh yeah, I mean, everything you said, makes total sense. I mean, initially when it came to any form of dance, it began a lot with the men that were doing it. I mean, there are some cultures now where in Afghanistan, for example, you have the nache, which is the Afghanistani dancing boys. So there is still a culture there in which they go around and look for young boys as young as 6 or 7 who might be of a lower class or a poorer background, find them in playgrounds and work with them, and say, look, do you want to make some money? You're very pretty, and so on and so forth. They dress them up and train them to dance for hordes of men and for hordes of men of elite classes. And I think that's one thing that astounds me even to this day, that this is still happening, you know. And women would never be caught dead in those areas.
Exactly.
Whether it be a religious reason, whether it be the state, obviously I'm not going into that whole thing, but you know, these cultures of dancing boys has always existed. You see it in literature, you see it in artwork, you see it in sculpture, you see boys dancing for the sultans, boys dancing in the harems, and they were picked because they were attractive men, pretty androgynous men. So it's all a very, very interesting concept. And I think growing up feeling very fluid in myself and feeling sort of very androgynous in the way that I was, even though I do identify as a man and as a male, I still feel a different energy when I perform. So I think that's why I chose to embody this non-binary form that people see in front of them, because it's something that if I connect with and I can do, then I should, because that's what gives my dance life, you know?
Yes. I mean, what was just going back to your childhood and inspiration, do you remember that moment where that spark was ignited in you for Kathak, and you watched something or you heard something and you felt, what was that feeling that compelled you to explore this?
I grew up listening to a lot of classical pieces, ghazals in particular, and I grew up listening to my mama and, you know, his obsession with shairi and my mother's obsession with ghazal, and I was fortunate enough to grow up with both sets of grandparents, so I had their influence in me. My grandmother would put on Jan, would put on, you know, things like this and watch them, and she'd say, Raheem, Vik, Meena Kumari ki karti pe. And I was like, yeah, I know, and it's incredible. And I would watch them and I'd go, like, if you look at Rekha, for example, in Dil Cheez Kya Hai, which is an incredible piece from Jan, she doesn't do anything for like the first whatever, like minute or two. She just sits there. And I thought, if somebody can take that energy, sit there and have everyone around them just in awe, that intrigued me. And I think I had all of that in my mentality and thinking I need to dance. So I grew up dancing in a lot of Western forms, had all of my classical training there. It wasn't until I got older and found classes near me that I was like, okay, do you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I went to go and see a friend perform, and I'll be honest, I looked at her and I said, she's doing it all wrong. And I looked at her and I said, no, that's not how you do it. And I went the next day and I said, sign me the hell up, we're doing it. And I never looked back.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. No, you were born to do this. When I first saw you, my sister and we both saw you, it was just mesmerizing. Koi lafz nahi hai yaar. There was just no words, and it was just so captivating. And all your dance forms, whether it's Kathak, bhangra, even, I know you've done some hip hop. Oh my god, there is this video of Raheem on his Instagram. Please do check it out. Give him a follow. I'm not going to say anything about it because you just need to watch it. I might share it after this conversation for those that haven't seen. And the way he just brings the fire to the floor. Hats off to you. Hats off to you. How did you feel the first time? So this is again twofold question. How did you feel the first time when you adopted the feminine garb, and what was your parents' response to you wearing the feminine sort of attire and dancing to a style which is now deemed as female dance form?
would always wear kurtas, and occasionally they would give me angarkas that didn't have as much hair as everyone else, unless we did like a Sufi piece. Then we all had the hair, the turns and everything. The first time I ever performed fully female, where I had no beard, I had hair, I had everything on. The first time that I had a chest in, which was hilariously done. Yeah, I actually did Diljit's kya hai for a lecture demonstration at Rich Mix. And that was the first time I fully felt like a woman. Like, I was like, if I walk down the street now, no one's clocking me. No one's going to tell me anything. Everyone's going to say, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
And the first time I ever did that, I almost felt like the movements and things that I was doing were justified. Now my female energy was justified and was allowed in the space and was celebrated for the very first time. And that's something that's incredible, I think. And my mother and father have always been very, very supportive. My whole family really has been. I showed my nani that piece, and my grandmother was looking at her like this, and she was like, oh my God. And she was in caps, and she was like, Vic, and they were like talking to me about it. And then she went, you did really, really well. And they were both incredibly impressed. And she said this to me, and I will always remember this, and I'll take this to my grave. And whenever I get dressed up, I always remember her in my ear. She's my earworm. She said to me, you know, you wouldn't be allowed to do this if, one, you couldn't dance, and two, you made an ugly woman. You're neither, so you're allowed to do this now. And I said, thank you.
Oh my God. That's her Ashrivad, her blessing. Yeah. That's wonderful to hear, Raheem, that they were so supportive and encouraging. And I guess that leads very nicely onto my next question about your coming out journey. If you could go into that. But before you do, I was digging into the archives, and apparently your mum once said to your nanny, I think it was your nanny, that what if one of your grandchildren is gay? What if Raheem is gay? And what did your nanny say? He can't be gay. I've seen his genitals and they are too big for him to be gay. That's what your nanny said. So if you could, I just wanted to share that with everybody, because I think I would love to meet your nanny. She just, what a comment. I hope you don't mind. I know you wouldn't have minded me saying that, because I know that there's no holds barred in this space. So good. Tell us about that. Tell us about how Nani felt, because this is what Nani's saying. Nani's saying that he can't be, but your mum seems to have an inkling, which is why she's asked your Nani this question. How did they respond to that? You know, your friends, family, community, your dad. What was the reaction?
My family always knew it was never a thing, and this is my immediate family. So my parents and I've got 3 older brothers and a younger sister. So when we were all growing up, it was never a thing. I think my mother pulled me aside once, and I would always be with her while she was getting ready and see her getting ready and be really interested in her whole process. And she just said one day out of the blue in my grandparents' bathroom in Oxfordshire, she just said to me, oh, so are you seeing anyone in school? Have you got a girlfriend or anything? And I went, no. And she went, okay. Then she was silent, and then she went, are you seeing a boy? Like, do you like any boys? And I went, no. And she went, okay, like, it's cool. Everyone knows, like, it's not an issue. And I remember one song that I always used to dance to. When you asked me what song reminds me of my childhood, another major song for me was Choli Ke Piche Kya Hai.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to grab any chuni that I could find, and I used to do the whole thing, and I used to like dance for it, and it was my go-to party trick, my party piece when I was little.
You danced in front of your family?
Yeah, but I was very young, so they just deemed it as cute. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, right.
My mother's best friend, who is an aunt of mine, I see her as family. She's my blood. Like, this woman has been with me, you know, through conception up until now. She said to my mum, you know that Raheem's probably going to grow up and be gay, like he's gay. And she went, yeah, I know, we'll just wait for him to tell us. So it was never
That's
a thing.
wonderful.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I
that's
feel
rare.
very, yeah, I feel very blessed to have this family around me and to have this support system and to have amazing people like my friends growing up from primary school to high school to university, to meeting incredible people like yourself and your sister, and to have people like that around me is just so warming, because I know that a lot of people don't have that.
They don't.
And
Yeah.
what I do has been, I've been told, I never like to really almost think about it, because I just think it's so alien to me that somebody can say this to me. But for someone to turn around to me and say thank you so much for what you do, because of what you do, I live through you and I see you and I see me in you, and to be able to be some form of representation for someone, I think is incredible.
That is,
Yeah.
you know, honestly, I salute your family for that, because there are a lot of people in, you know, who feel they can't express themselves, and you know, you've managed to express your authentic self as a person and through your love for dance. That's what dance is, right? Form of expression. No holds barred, no judgment. Not everyone has that blessing or privilege. So it's, you know, I'm so glad that you shared that. And for anyone that, you know, is feeling a little bit apprehensive about speaking to a family member or friend about their own sexual orientation, especially if you are from the South Asian community, still has a stigma attached to it. You know, it's so nice to hear that although it's a rarity, that you were not judged for it, and it's allowed you to flourish into the person that you are. The person that we're seeing, this confident, exuberant person in front of us with all this sass, you are that because they allowed you to be that. They allowed you to be who you are,
Yeah, and
you know, the
yeah,
essence.
I was just gonna add on that. It's not to say that I haven't had hardship. You know, I
Of
still
course.
have my moments where I was bullied growing
Yeah.
up, and there were people at university that wouldn't walk near me. There were people on the streets that would shout things as I was growing up, because I was in a form that I was still getting to grips with. Even though I was very confident in who I was, my body changed and my body shape was very feminine.
Mm,
And I was only, you know, I was thin, I was svelte, but I had a bit of a curve going on, and I started then to grow my hair, and I had no facial hair and things like that. So it wasn't that I was exploring that part of my identity. It was just like it became embossed into me, and I lived that way for a very long time, believing that this is how people were perceiving me, and I was understanding myself as in this form. It wasn't until I started to get older and started exploring things through dance, and just by speaking to my family, to say that, you know what, no, I am an amalgamation of so many things, and it's just incredible to embody that and to feel pretty, you know, and to do one thing one day, and then to the other day, you know, you're lucky if I've washed my face. So, you know, there's moments where we all have these like times, you know what I mean? So
we
yeah,
are
it's
all
incredible.
wearing masks, you know, and you know, just to emphasize a point in the song that you performed for us earlier, pyar kiya to darna kiya. I think that is very reflective of, it's not just about love, is it? It's not about that, like you explained earlier. It's about having, you know, love is such a powerful emotion, a powerful feeling. You know, pyar kiya to darna kya. Why should I be afraid of this? And there's a line in there, trying to remember it now word for word, but bando se parda karna kya. There's a line that precedes that, which is saying, I don't have a veil between me and Khuda, between me and God. So why should I have this veil of pretense between me and another human being? Which I think that's what that song encapsulates for me, in terms of how you've expressed it, not just about love, but having the confidence to be yourself. That's what
Well,
that means
if you can't be
to me.
you, who's going to be you? And the
Who's going to
fact
be
is,
you?
like, we have to embody who we are, because this is the body that we've been given. This is the mind, the soul, everything that we've been given. And we need to be this person. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So, like,
exactly.
you need to do what you need to do. Absolutely.
Mm. I've turned on the comments now, but anyone who wants to ask Raheem any questions, I've got one more.
Okay, go for it. Sorry, I spoke a lot.
Actually, two questions. In the meantime, if you have, like I said, comments, questions, feedback, please drop them there in the comment box. when you performed on stage, have any males approached you after your performance and been inspired to want to take up Kathak as a dance form?
Oh, I thought that question was going
Or bhangra? Because no, I wasn't going to ask that. The other question, maybe offline. But you also do bhangra as well, right? You do bhangra, which and I love this versatility of you to just, like you said, the fluidity in gender and dance. You can just move from one to the other. So after you've done bhangra, after you've done, I suppose from Kathak more so, has anyone approached you and said, you know what, I want to take up this dance form as well. You've made me, want to explore it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have asked me if I teach or if I do something in terms of classes, and I never have done. But in terms of Kathak, I always say to them, like, find out what you want to get from it and then pursue it. Understand yourself through the form first and read up on it and understand what it is and then go into it. I always say that to people. I think bhangra was something that I wanted to do because it challenged me to a form where my femininity was never brought into it. And I remember initially when I was discussing becoming a bhangra dancer with a team, someone was saying to me, yeah, but have you got energy? Have you got character? Have you got personality? Have you got presence that's going to be matched up and equal to, 11 other male dancers who are all heterosexual? And I was like trying, because dance is about being a comedian. And then I went to these classes and I, joined and I did stuff at uni like everyone does. And then from there got onto a professional team and did a competition in 18, So and you couldn't tell anyone from anything. Like we were exactly the same. And I think that, being a Kathak dancer allows me fluidity and form, but then being a bhangra dancer allows me fluidity and form in a different way, to challenge that, to go through something completely different. Have people approached me about both? Absolutely, they have. And I always just say to them, do it. Just go to one class and just see how you feel, and you never know what potentialities and what things you can unlock about yourself in even just one class, an hour session.
I mean, with Kathak specifically, there's a gesture language called abhinaya, right? Which is subtle movement of eyebrow and that kind of stuff, which bhangra doesn't have. Bhangra, also people, I think, associate bhangra with this very masculine energy as well. But traditional bhangra, if we think about jhumar and luddi, these are actually very soft, very graceful movements, which mimic the sort of like farming techniques. Although in modern bhangra we see, a lot of this her and all of this, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a dancer, I'm a singer, but we have this machismo. But traditional bhangra dance forms, they are very subtle and they are not men stomping around. If you look at old videos and you look at the intricacy of the dance move, every dance form in India tells a story. They're not just jumping around. Every hand movement, eyebrow movement is narrating a story. Hence why the name Kathak. Katha equals story. So you're a storyteller. So there's some questions we've got here. Before we get into that, into the questions, Raheem, could you end with a performance for us, and then we'll go into the questions. We've got 15 minutes exactly. So I will let you tell everybody what this performance is. A favorite of mine. I actually requested this.
Yeah, this is for you, this one.
This is for all of us to enjoy. But if you want to let everyone know what this is.
Yeah, so this is from a film called Kohinoor. And it's very, very old, very black and white. It's called Madhuban mein radhika nache. And it basically talks about how Radha, also known as Radhika, is in a space. In the gardens, and she's there by herself doing what she does until she hears her lover's flute, and then that just takes over her whole body, and his musicality becomes her musicality.
So you're going to do a little short
very
performance,
short.
not the entire song, just the classical piece that's in there.
It's more the abhinaya section, yeah.
Exactly. So you can see abhinaya, which is the gestural language of Kathak. So Raheem will be showing that to us. Do you want to go back and I'll let you know if we can see you?
Yeah, I think it's space here. Oh, fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's perfect right there.
Okay.
And this is a song, like I said, I requested Raheem to sing this, to perform this by Muhammad Rafi from the film Kohinoor. Absolutely love it. So take it away, Raheem. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Here we go. Oh.
मधुबन में राधिका नाचे रे, मधुबन में राधिका नाचे रे, गिरधर की मुरलिया बाज रे, गिरधर की मुरलिया बाज रे, मधुबन में राधिका नाचे रे। पग में घूंघर बांध के पग में घूंघर बांध के, घूंघटा मुख पर डाल के, नैनन में कजरा लगा के, मधुबन में राधिका नाचे रे। दौलत छम छम कामनी दौलत छम छम कामनी, चमकत जैसे कामनी, चंचल प्यारी छप लागे रे, मधुबन में राधिका नाचे रे, गिरधर की मुरलिया बाजे रे, मधुबन में राधिका नाचे रे।
वाह, क्या बात है! Oh.
Sorry.
I'll let you catch your breath again, Raheem. That was just simply beautiful.
That's okay. That wasn't too much. I'm all right.
Such wonderful, wonderful comments here. I'll let you have a scroll through and see. You know, for those that are not familiar with Kathak or the intricacies of Kathak, so what he was doing there, abhinaya, which is the gestural language of Kathak. So the word madhuban me radhika nache. So she's dancing in the garden, and Raheem literally was dancing in the garden. And when he was the word murli, what were you doing with the word murli, which is a flute?
So the murali, yeah. So you depict Krishna like this. So that's his murali. His flute is here, and then his flute and his peacock feather. So then
exactly. Look at all that. Yes. And the ghunguru, and you knelt down and tying your ghunguru, and Girdhar or Girdhari is the name for Krishna. So all these little subtle things that you notice in the storytelling of Kathak. So beautiful. Let's get on to the questions. I know everyone loved that. It was just
thank you, everyone.
Just such a wonderful thing for this balmy summer evening. I felt like I was in Shalimar Bagh. You know, so beautiful. Let's get some questions here. We've got comments. I remember when you won one of the Bollywood University competitions, danced so beautifully. Raheem, loved hearing your story and your journey. Question here from Mansab. I want to say kudos to Raheem for being himself so unabashedly and using this platform to express himself. I'm curious, has he received negativity on social media in regards to his sexuality? How has he dealt with it? And then a follow-up question from the same person. As a Bhangra dancer myself,
I know the male Punjabi culture can be very toxic and breed certain machoism. Did he face this during his Bhangra dancing, which was on point? So 2 questions there.
Negativity on social media for what I do, not to my face.
Okay.
I'm sure that I've been spoken about and shared about. Although as of recently, as of lockdown, TikTok, you know, the blow of that.
Yeah.
Two of my videos that I just made for TikTok between a friend and I got taken from that platform and put onto like meme pages. And one of them was a small Gidda piece that I did to Heer from Jab Tak Hai Jaan.
Oh yeah.
That got taken and that was mocked essentially. And to which I was really confused about, because I was like, I don't understand what's going on, because I hadn't seen it. Somebody else had told me about it, to which everybody bombarded it with messages, and my support system was so strong. And it actually came from my Bhangra family, you know, from the team, from the people I know from Bhangra. They were the ones that were saying, you have no right to say anything about this person. You don't know anything about him. And they were very, very supportive of that. Another one actually got shared on a very famous one that everybody I know follows. And that was me doing Bhangra. And everyone was, again, very complimentary of it because it was Bhangra. So it was the male form. It wasn't until somebody wrote a comment, because they tagged me in it, somebody wrote a comment saying, yeah, he's an amazing dancer, but have you seen his Instagram profile? It doesn't make no damn sense. And all of these comments got deleted, but it really doesn't make a difference, because, and I always say this about myself, is that I can be a you know, for use of a better term, I can be that big jut energy that people want from Bhangra. Yeah.
Right.
I can give you that very much so. And I feel like people need to know that. And I say that my beard is thicker than your man's, but my makeup is better than your woman's. And that's not my fault. Yeah. They're the ones that need to.
Oh, we lost
sorry.
you? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it went dark.
I thought we lost you there.
No, I'm here. Yeah, so
I think the Instagram couldn't handle your comment. That's what it was.
Exactly.
It was just too powerful.
And that's what it is. And I think that like I represent someone or a body of people out there that can teeter-totter between both worlds, and we should be allowed to do so. So have I faced negativity? Yes. And I've gotten over it, one, with the support of others, but two, knowing that actually your words are empty, because I'm being celebrated for my dance form. Like, I'd like to see you do what I do. Like, try it. I really encourage you to try it. And I think I had to
trained in this.
Yeah, and I know what happens when you put yourself on social media. Like, you're opening yourself up to the world. So you better get what's happening out there on period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the second question was, in terms of Bhangra, yes, I've been surrounded by toxic masculinity in the Bhangra community, and everybody has, and everybody knows it, you know, to the point where a common phrase that you hear in the Bhangra community, especially it's, with a lot of people, and what they say is girls shouldn't do Bhangra, or co-ed teams shouldn't exist because girls will never keep up with the guys, and things along those lines. And there's a lot of toxicity in the Bhangra scene, which I think is a whole other, you know, realm. But I know some female dancers that can dance circles around the male dancers, you know, and they're my inspiration. And the male dancers are also my inspiration, because I see them and I learn from these guys and I learn from these girls. And the Bhangra scene as a whole needs to very much accept that this dance form is for all. And we're not here trying to prove anything. We're here learning this form to connect with our ancestry, to connect with our form, to connect with our people and our communities in a society that deems us less worthy. And that's what I'm going to say on the Bhangra scene, because it could be something that's completely different. You know,
could talk about that for ages. Yeah, I mean, really I hope that answers your question, Sunny. I just want to point out, there's a comment here from Jamini Sahai. I'm sure you're aware of who she is. She said, beautiful to watch you. For those that don't know, Jamini is a Kathak dance teacher, legendary in her own right, married to Sanju Sahai, who is a exponent of the Banaras Gharana, you know, tabla exponent of the Banaras Gharana, and she's just praised you. So you know, I think that's like the highest compliment you could get for your dance.
So much. Thank you.
Raheem, we've got 4 minutes and 5 more questions that have come personally. They've not been posted here. So I'm just wondering, if I ended this session now and started again just for 15 more minutes to answer those questions, are you all right to do that?
I'm okay to do that, yeah, if everyone else
Well,
is.
if I end this now, I have done this once or twice before when the conversations got really enthralling like this one. So I'll end it now, and if you all I'll let you have your drink in that time. If you all want to rejoin for another 15-20 minutes, some of the questions, I'm going to screenshot them so that I have them here.
Please do.
Just give me 1 moment, and then I will restart this conversation. I've got a lot of people saying, can you save this? They've not commented here, but yes. Okay, thanks to everyone who says that they're going to rejoin. I'm just screenshotting the conversations. Okay, right, I'm going to end this now. Please join me in about 30 seconds. See you on the other side.
I'll be there.